Welcome. You're on the road beyond. I'm Todd Duplantis, and it's good to have you with us tonight. Got a great show lined up for you. Got to talk a little bit of spooky stories tonight. We got some cool stuff to talk about. But first, I want to welcome back my co-host, Kat Franzmeyer, joining me live once again. Kat, it's good to see you again.
Hey, it's good to be here. I just came back from Stockholm, and it's really great to be here. So good stuff.
Yeah, so you were out of the country. You went to Stockholm. Anything spooky happen while you were there?
You know, it's a dark, kind of quiet, cold country. So who knows? You got to dig deep.
Yeah. Did you, I heard you did some crazy jumping into the Baltic Sea or something.
I did. I'm a health coach. So I found my health coach partner, and we just jumped in the cold water and just got cold, did cold plunge. And I'm so grateful for Tuesday Miles for filling in for me. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Tuesday was here. Yep, she was here. All right. Well, it's good to have you back. I want to welcome as well our producer, Scotty Barrett, joining us live from his home. Say howdy, Scotty.
Hey, howdy, Todd.
Always good to have you with us, and we'll be checking in with you in a little while. Scotty's got a big Halloween show lined up for us, Kat.
Woo! Yay! Halloween's my favorite time ever.
There you go. Halloween's coming up.
Yay! I love it.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started for the night because we've got a jam-packed show for you. Let's get started with a few weird and bizarre headlines, Kat.
Oh God, really? So this is about a raccoon, guys. Are you ready for about the raccoon? So there's a raccoon that in Natick, North Dakota, this woman decided to take her raccoon into a bar and introduce the raccoon to other friends. And being from the Northwest, we had raccoons always coming around, but I didn't offer them coffee or taking them to a bar. So it was kind of strange. So anyway, well,
it sounds like the beginning of a joke where, it's a joke line. A woman walks into a bar with a wild raccoon, but that's what really happened.
It's what really happened. And this is a town of 500 people, 10 people in the bar, and there was a raccoon in there. And it was a mass, this deaf content on that whole thing. So she walked in, and the bartender on duty told authorities the woman named Erin Christensen arrived during happy hour and decided to bring her pet around. What do you do about that?
They didn't kick her out?
They tried to. They said she had to leave, and they just kind of took some time. But what do? You walk around with your raccoon, and you're like, hey, this is my raccoon pet.
Does the said raccoon have a name?
Yes. And this is the scary thing. Rocky.
Rocky Raccoon.
Rocky Raccoon. Yeah.
It's true. We didn't make this story up.
What do you do with that? Rocky Raccoon. That's the cartoons from the 50s, right?
It was a Beatles song. It was a huge Beatles song. The story of Rocky Raccoon.
All right. Well, you got a raccoon and you take him in a bar and you give him a drink. I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah, well, it didn't work out well because apparently they had a health scare down there for rabies. Okay. Let's see, Kat, you might relate to this story. This next story is weird, gross, and just makes you wonder what the hell is wrong with some people. Okay, check this out. An eye doctor posted a video on her Instagram account showing her removing 23 contact lenses from the eye of one of her patients. The patient says she just plain forgot to take them out herself, and this is what it looked like in the end.
Oh, gosh. No.
Can you relate?
I can relate. I tried it. Okay. I tried contacts in my eyes one time, and I couldn't get my contact out, but that was one. This is 23. Yeah. Who has 23 contacts in their eyes?
Yeah, so the doctor says that the contacts kind of fused themselves together. They were glued together, and she had to use a surgical tool to pull them out of the woman's eye. Now, the video, she posted a video of her pulling these out of the woman's eye. The woman's awake. She's pulling them out of the eye. That video has gotten over 1 million views for the California Eye Associates, and they're even getting some free advertisements here.
Can I interject here? Here, like, so you have 23 contact lenses in your eye, and why do you have all these views? And what are you going to get from that? Like, you couldn't get your contacts out.
Well, how do you forget? No, I mean, I can understand maybe one time you went to sleep, they're brand new, you put it in. 23 times she forgot to take out the contacts. 23 times.
I think it's just you forget to shave or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, anyway, the woman's lucky to have her eye, but she did keep her eye. So I guess we should get on with the show, Kat.
Okay, let's go.
All right, we turn to some spooky side of the road beyond. Joining us now, we've got Amanda Thomas, Murder Geek 7. Ghost Stories is her game. Amanda.
Very excited to hear from Amanda. Yay, Amanda. Okay. Sorry.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here again.
And I know, Amanda, you and Kat, I think, met on the show before a while back. But Kat, you wanted to know a little bit about Amanda. And for viewers who are just joining us, first off, Amanda, you do videos on TikToks. They're like real stories. They're spooky stories. But let everyone know how many followers you have now.
Oh, Lord. I don't know. I didn't check today. 200
Close to 250,000.
Yeah.
It's just not even like her followers. She does her research and it's so interesting. And I want to always call Amanda and say, like, what did you hear about this like penitentiary in Eastern Washington or something? Because you know so much and you do your research. It's so awesome.
Just call me next time. I'd love to have a chat.
We'll hook you guys up. We'll hook you up because I know Kat's got some stories she could turn your way. All right. So Amanda, though, we want to talk about now, correct me if I'm wrong. We're going to talk about the real story behind the horror movie, really sensation, The Haunting in Connecticut. Wasn't this the big one that was on Netflix? Or it's still on Netflix, right?
Yeah, it's still on Netflix. Okay. I think it was pretty big though.
Okay. All right. So tell us, I don't know if you remember seeing the story, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about this, because from what I'm understanding, there are two things going on with the story. If you remember the horror flick, it was a story about the Snedeker family who back in 1986 rented a house in Southington, Connecticut. We're going to show you a picture of the family to be closer to the oldest son who was undergoing cancer treatment at a nearby hospital. Amanda, was the story reality, or is this all created for film?
Well, there's a lot of controversy because Ed and Lorraine Warren were a part of this whole investigation. Yep. And since Ed and Lorraine have both since passed, there's been a lot of controversy on whether or not they were selling snake oil, so to speak, right? So personally, I believe it. I believe with the, you can't make up that much stuff, right? So, and
tell us about the story. Pick it up, because I know that they were going to meet their oldest son who was undergoing cancer treatment at a nearby hospital. Where did it go from there?
Well, originally the family lived in upstate New York, and he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And this was in the 80s. So they didn't have medicine wasn't quite where it is today. So they had to find a house to live in that was closer, because they had to drive 8 hours to the hospital, 8 hours back. And that's a pretty extensive commute. And It was every day. Yeah. Every day he had to go through this. And so the family was looking for a home that was closer, and they found this home, and it just kind of went awry from there.
And so maybe you could tell us some strange things were going on. I mean, they had their oldest son, Phil, he started seeing like a ghost, right?
Right. So when they initially moved in, they found some things like mortuary tools, the things that they would use to embalm and, those kinds of things. The cooler where they would place bodies was left in the house. And it was really creepy. I don't know why a landlord would leave that in there, but after a while, the kids started complaining that, hey, something's wrong in this house. And their oldest son started having like pretty severe behavioral changes. He was just angry, and just there's some things that he did that he tried to attack his cousin. Like his behavior went 180, like it was just completely different kid.
So do you think, Amanda, that it was something with, what do you think caused him to be different or feel differently? and have that behavior?
So I don't. The family didn't think he was going to survive his cancer. The fact that he went into remission was shocking. I think when you're this close to death's door, you're more susceptible to things, and I think he was an easy target to whatever was lingering in the house.
So you're under the impression there was something lingering in the house, possibly an entity or something along those lines?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all too weird. You can't really make up quite that story, and I do think Ed and Lorraine had a lot of truth in what they were, I think a lot of people like to make it sound like they were fake. But I think that, anytime you find any kind of success in something like that, people are going to try to tear it down. So I do think something was in the house. Yes.
Now, Amanda, they actually had priests come in.
Yes.
They actually had priests come in.
They did have priests come into the house. And from what I understand is that the priests told them to ignore it. They told them to ignore what was going on, and then it would go away. But you can't really ignore something that blatant and in your face. So that's when the mother started looking into, her name was Carmen, and she started looking into other avenues to try to help her family. And that's when she found Ed and Lorraine.
How did Bill, what was his prognosis and ending or not ending?
You mean when he was initially diagnosed?
Yeah.
They did not think he would survive. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And he did survive. He went into remission, and he's still alive to this day from what I've gathered in my research. Yeah. And he has a family. He's a truck driver.
He's still around.
He's still around. Yeah.
Wow. There's always been controversy, it seems like, surrounding Ed and Lorraine Warren. We had one of their relatives on our show last year talking about his experiences. I didn't realize, I'm not sure if you're aware, but they were also very heavily involved with the Amityville horror story as well.
Yeah.
And that's something, when I heard that, I'm like, wow, that's something that, I didn't remember from those days. But there's always seemed to be some controversy surrounding anything they were involved in.
Yeah, I think when you find that level of success and especially in what they were doing, you're going to get criticism.
Right. Okay. I want to move on to our next story, if we could. And this next story, we're going to go to Alabama, one of our favorite places, Alabama, who just happened to lose this weekend. So I imagine it wasn't a good day in Tuscaloosa today as well. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to play one of your videos here, Amanda. You want to set this one up, because this one, tell us the title, and we're going to go ahead and play this.
Yeah, this is the Sloss Furnace in Alabama, and this one is scary. This one scared me and chilled me to my core, but it's
This one scared me too.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're going to take a look.
You ever heard of the Sloss Furnace in Birmingham, Alabama? From 1882 to 1971, the Sloss Furnace would take coal from surrounding areas and turn it into steel for many places around the country. While this was a booming industry and brought a lot of people to Birmingham, all was not quite as magical as it would appear. In the early 1900s, a man named James Slag Wormwood would become the foreman of the night shift. The night shift was the absolute worst shift, and only the most desperate of people would take this shift. The plant would get up to 120 degrees inside, and these workers were given the bare minimum of housing, and they would be on 24/7 call. This was literally a living hell for them. To impress his supervisors, Slag Wormwood would force these workers to work in really terrible conditions. He would make them take unnecessary risks to speed up production. While Slag was the foreman, 47 workers lost their life, and this is 10 times more than anyone else in the history of this furnace. There would be no breaks, no holidays, no kind of benefits for these employees at all, and a lot of them were immigrants who didn't have another choice. In October of 1906, Slag was on the top of one of the biggest furnaces, which they nicknamed Big Alice. He seemed to lose his footing and fall into the furnace. His body melted immediately. The thing is that Slag never stepped foot on top of these furnaces, so many people believe that the workers got fed up and pushed him. But no one was ever brought to trial for this. And after this, many workers claimed to have paranormal experiences. In 1926, a watchman claimed to sustain injuries from being pushed from behind by an unseen force. He also heard a deep voice saying, "Get back to work." And in 1947, 3 workers were found unconscious in a locked room. But the scariest of them all was the night before the plant closed, the foreman claimed to see something that was pure evil. He says the man that he saw was half human, half something that was pure evil, and this figure began to beat him with his fists. There have been countless paranormal experiences reported at Sloss. So would you check it out? You can tour it. Let me know down in the comments and follow for more creepy things.
Okay, that one's creepy as hell. That's a pretty bad one.
Totally.
Yeah, that one scares me really, really bad. I couldn't go.
So you had a number of poor workers, immigrants, who are working in 120-degree temperatures, hours on end, in a plant factory, and they're being hollered at by a foreman, and he mysteriously falls into their biggest furnace, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I do not think.
Yeah.
And I'm actually not mad at the fact that he was pushed either. I think that's just.
But he had the coolest name of all. Like, why is no one not named their band? Was it Slag?
James Slag Wormwood. Yep.
Slag Wormwood.
That's Slag in Portland.
Yeah.
There is Slag. I've heard of
Slag
Slag.
Wormwood.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting name. Terrible human.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's a pretty good one there. You've got another one that we're going to run right now. This one's going to take us out to Hawaii. Do you want to set this one up?
Yeah. So this is the Kasha House or whatever. Is that what is it? Kasha House. Sorry, I'm kind of
the Kasha House.
Yeah. This one really fascinates me because there's police reports that back this one up. And this makes me out, you're going to believe it a little bit more if even the police are writing reports saying that, hey, we saw this happen too. So.
Yeah. So we're going to talk more about the police reports in just a second. Okay. First off, let me go ahead and share my screen, and then we are going to take a look at, here we go, the haunting of the Kasha House.
Have you ever heard of the Kasha House in Kaimuki, Hawaii? And please forgive me if I said that wrong and correct me in the comments. But this house has a very strange history behind it. A few months after the Pearl Harbor attacks in 1941, there was a strange call that came into the police department. The woman on the other line kept saying, help me, she's trying to kill my children." When police arrived to the house, they found a young boy, his 3 sisters, and his mother. They were being thrown around by something unseen. These reports didn't stop, with every new resident of the home reporting the same thing. And the creepiest thing about this is police corroborate these reports. Apparently, police have witnessed residents of this house being tossed around by something unseen. There are 2 theories about what's going on in this house. One is of a Japanese shape-shifting evil creature that is in this house and will terrorize any family who lives there. And there's also the theory that there is an angry spirit who lingers in the house and his body or her body is buried in the backyard. The house has since been torn down, but the residents still claim that there is an evil force that lingers there. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know down in the comments and follow for more creepy things.
Okay. Once again, another that's pretty big one, Amanda, right there. Okay. So Kasha House, according to this, Scotty, I'm going to mute your mic because your camera keeps coming up. There we go. Okay. The Kasha House, apparently the police actually didn't see this. Is that right?
Yeah. So that first report, the police came in and they were trying to see, like they had this domestic report come in and they saw these kids being thrown around, but they couldn't see who was throwing them around. So wild.
Wow.
So this is real. This is the real deal.
Yeah, no, it's apparent. Like I didn't personally see the police reports, but it's real. Like this is like, and people still talk about it to this day that there is something evil that lingers there.
What were the dates on that? I didn't catch the dates. Did you get a timeline as to when all this was happening? I heard Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, it was right after, just a couple months after Pearl Harbor, that the initial reports came in.
Okay. And to this day, go ahead, Kat.
Oh, did they build on the site?
Yeah, there are condos on there now, I believe. So it's not the same house, but it's like a condo. So
Well, it'd be interesting to follow up to see if anything's going on with the people in the condos there. That's the story I want to know now.
yeah, well, according to Reddit, and Reddit, I don't know, I take that as pretty hard fact at this point, but they say that there are still reports coming in from something evil there. Like residents don't last long because they can't handle the ghosts. So,
and you know, this whole thing with entities haunting a building, maybe establish themselves in a residence. I know, for example, like you, Kat, you've had experiences with something like this as well, right?
Yes, like crazy experiences like this. Just feeling like, so I was in a high rise just recently before I moved to where I am now. And I saw visions and I felt like that it was telling me to jump off my balcony, which is really weird because I'm a very happy person who doesn't want to like jump off my balcony. And I was on the 19th floor and it kept telling me to jump and jump and jump. And then I was sleeping and I saw it coming around my bed. It was the most terrifying thing I think I've ever seen. And it wanted to hang laundry on my ceiling fan. And then it came around me and it wanted to touch my chest. And I've heard about this in Japanese lore that it's, I forget the name of it, but I've only had it twice in my life, but I hear it's a Japanese thing, but I felt this energy that was terrifying. And I saw this energy taking a form in a different way. And my daughter even validated it. She said, like, we hear it, it's here. It's coming to you because you're vulnerable. It was terrifying.
Didn't you also bring a psychic in? And when you moved from the place, it kind of went away, right?
So I brought a psychic in to come and cleanse. So we tried to cleanse. We did the things they told us to do. And I asked somebody, like, what is here? And she tried to cleanse and she's like, something was left here. And I'm like, well, what was left here? I mean, it could be a person, a thing, and it's just really terrifying. Like, it was in my side of the house of my bedroom and my closet that it was something there that was left and the thing was there. And I was very open to it. And I think, which is very different with, my daughter was not open to it. She's like, you're not going to go near me. I'm a teenager and whatever. And I was like open to it because I was very vulnerable at the time.
Yeah.
Kat, they call a Japanese ghost like that a yokai. Is a yokai? I
know what you mean. Yes. And the only thing I knew to do when it was coming around, I felt the energy. It was a black, almost like smoke or gray. And I just knew all I wanted to do was like hold my chest because I knew that whatever form it took wanted to come to me and touch my chest. It was terrifying.
Yeah. So, I mean, Amanda, it sounds like it is a real thing, where energy can set up and stay in a location and can be trapped in a location, I guess.
Oh yeah, I absolutely believe it. And I'm really sorry you went through that. That's terrifying. That's just scary. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird because I believe in anything really. But when it happens to me, then I really believe in it. And then I believe when people talk about it, I believe that it's really true for them.
Well, the weird thing too, Kat, is when you did move, because you stayed in the building, which is kind of interesting. You stayed in the building, but you moved to a different unit.
I moved.
And it didn't happen anymore, right?
No, I really expunged and I made sure I actually asked my the people, the management, I said, did something happen there? Like was something, what happened there? Like nothing happened there. And I just really made it in my next place down another 4 floors, clean, nothing there.
No problems.
No. And it's a feeling like I felt this heaviness in this one apartment, and the second apartment that I moved into, there was no heaviness. It was free, it was clean. It was, and even my new place right now where I'm sitting, there's no bad energy at all.
Bizarre.
That one place, I wanted to jump off my balcony. I felt like it was telling me to jump off my balcony.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, Amanda, you hear about these on a daily basis because you do these videos daily, don't you?
I have been learning to take a couple breaks for my own mental health, but pretty much every day, yes.
Yeah. And so we're going to be coming back. Our next show is going to be on Halloween nights. And you're going to be joining us. You want us to give us a short preview of what we're going to be talking about? Because I know one of your stories has a Texas connection.
Yeah, I think that's the Yorktown Memorial Hospital.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want the story on it or?
No, you can just tell us. Well, I know we're going to hear the story when you're on, but you've got the Texas Yorktown Hospital and then a couple of others. What's one of the other ones that you're going to be doing next time?
Oh, I think my favorite one is a story about a woman who solved her own murder from the grave. So, okay.
That's a real thing too. I know Tuesday, who's won our show, told us a lot about that. One thing I know we're all fascinated with, and maybe we can, we're about to run out of time, but we could talk more about this next time is the Cecil Hotel. So I'd like to get you on. We'll talk about that in the future. We are desperately running out of time. Thank you for being here, Amanda. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Scotty, you got a quick story you're going to do in a couple of weeks on Bluebeard, right?
For Halloween, Bluebeard, the wife unaliver.
All right.
Yes, Scotty.
Bluebeard. All right. We're running out of time. Find us on Facebook, YouTube. Look for us on social media as The Road Beyond Podcast. Kat, thanks for being here tonight. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Amanda, we'll see you as well. Scotty, thank you for being here. And we'll see all of you folks the next time, 2 weeks from tonight, October 31st, The Road Beyond Podcast Halloween show. See you then.